Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Rosie and today I wanted to talk to you about a challenge that I want to do for the next 3 months. Now, okay, so first things first, I'm dyslexic. I've actually done a whole video talking about it. I'll leave it linked up here. But I found out I was dyslexic when I was about 18. I'd always struggled throughout high school. I always thought I was stupid. Found out at 18 I was actually dyslexic. Got a little bit of help from the government in terms of a free laptop, and I can't remember what the help I got. But it was something that always held me back, and it meant that I didn't read for pleasure. And even kind of in school, I would never read the books we were supposed to read. I would just kind of ask a friend to give me a summary. I really hated reading. And this all changed at the age of 30, I believe it was, about 3 years ago. I started reading with the Kindle and with audiobooks at the same time. So this meant that I could listen to a book and read the book at the same time, and the information was actually going in, and I could read the book at a reasonably quick pace because I wasn't struggling so much with the words and how sentences were supposed to sound and how it was being said. And I don't know, I just found it so much easier to listen to the book and read it at the same time. And so even though I really struggle with reading, I love books, which I know sounds a little bit, not counterintuitive, but a little bit weird in that I can say I love books even though I don't read many books. And what I mean by that is whenever we go to the airport, for example, I will spend about an hour before my flight in WH Smith's or the bookstore, if I'm not in England, looking through all of the different books, reading the covers, taking photographs of books I'm dying to read. And I love the idea of books. I just find it really hard to actually read them. And in particular, sciencey books, or not, I call them storybooks. I can't remember if that's fiction or not fiction. I think fiction is storybooks. So I enjoy fiction books. I think that's right. Anyway, I'm going to call them storybooks. The storybooks are like books that are made up like a story. So I enjoy storybooks in terms of actually sitting down and reading and enjoying and taking my time with it. And it might take me 3 months to read a book because it's not that I'm a slow reader. Even now when I do my audiobook and I read it, it's more just that I don't take time to read. Anyway, I'm kind of getting sidetracked. So I enjoy reading storybooks, but I don't enjoy so much the factual books about, you know, science, religion, politics, anything kind of science-based or truth-based, I find really, really hard. And it's one of those where I try and read these books and I will try and just not get anywhere with it. I find it really hard to read the information, to retain the information, to enjoy it even. So I've kind of struggled with reading those types of books. So again, just to give you an idea of how much I read last year, for example, last year in the whole of 2021, I read 3 books. So I read Where the Crawdads Sing, Eat, Pray, Love, which I've already seen the film multiple times as well, and Educated. So those are the 3 books that I read in 2021. And earlier this year, even like a week or 2 ago, I thought, you know what, I'm going to read 100 books this year. Which is crazy for someone who read 3 books last year, but I was like, I'm going to read 2 books a week. It's going to happen. I'm going to learn loads. I'm going to read loads. I'm going to develop as a person and do all this. Like, there's loads of personal development books I would love to read about growing your business and being an entrepreneur and about self-worth and all these different books, but I just can't get into them. So I thought, okay, this year is the year I'm going to do a lot more self-care and actually read books. And I know that sounds unrealistic, which it probably is, but I'm an all or nothing kind of person. I'll either be like, I'm going to read 0 books, or I'm going to read 100. I'm kind of nowhere in the middle. Anyway, so a couple of weeks ago, my sister-in-law mentioned Blinkist, which is an app where you basically get a 10 to 20 minute summary of a book and you learn all of the important information without having to read the whole book. And I kind of thought to myself, well, isn't that a little bit lazy? Like, aren't you missing out on the crucial information or all the background behind it? So you can't really understand the information if you don't know the context behind it. And aren't you best just reading the book? And I don't know, I wasn't really sold on it. I just kind of thought that you should either read the book or not read the book. Why would you just get the best bits and not have to read the whole thing? And then somebody else mentioned it to me and I thought, you know what, I'm going to download the app and see what it's all about. So I downloaded the app and you get a free 7-day trial, and I wanted to listen to a book that I wanted to listen to for a while but have just not really got around to it or haven't really got into it when I've tried it. So I listened to Atomic Habits and it was brilliant. It was one of those where there's just so much information, and the way that they break it down and make it so easy to digest, I really, really enjoyed it. The other thing I really enjoyed is that with the Blinkist app, you can listen to the kind of 10-15 minute summary, or you can read it, or you can do both at the same time, which had I known that previously, I'd have been using this for ages because it's such an easy way to, well, for me personally, to be able to read and listen and get all of this really important, vital kind of life-changing information without having to read the whole book that might take me 3 months or 6 months to read. So with that, I decided I'm going to give myself a challenge. And my challenge for myself, starting tomorrow, so if you want to join me, you can, is to read 90 books in 90 days. Now, when I decided I was going to do this 90 books in 90 days thing, I had about 66, I think it was, saved in my kind of want to read folder on the app. So I went ahead and added some more, and I went up to now 105 or something like that. So I'm going to leave the list down below of all the books that I want to read. And I encourage you to choose the ones that you want to choose. So I'm going to put the date and the book that I'm reading, and then I'll put some extras on the bottom. So if you happen to have already read that book, or if it's not something you're interested in, you can choose one of the other books. And then in 3 months' time, I'm going to come on here and talk to you about the books that I've read. So I'm super excited because the summaries are around 10 to 20 minutes long. So it's not a huge portion of your day. And I feel like if I incorporate it into my either morning routine, evening routine, something like that, is something that I think once you get going with, I think could be really, really beneficial. And I think I'm going to learn and hopefully change so much by just knowing more information. So my plan is to wake up in the mornings. I want to start meditating as part of my morning routine as well. So I'm going to wake up, meditate for maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then read a book for 10 to 15 minutes. Well, this like summary thing. So that's my plan for the next 3 months. And I think it might take me that long to actually get into the routine. At the moment, I have zero morning routine. So it's going to take me a little while to get into, but I cannot wait to just learn about all this information that has kind of been hard for me to get hold of before. Like I said, with the dyslexia, it took me 3 months, I think, to read Where the Crawdads Sing, and I really enjoyed the book. I was really into it, but it just took me so long to read it. So, if I wanted to read all of these, I've got 100 books saved now on this, like, to read, I think, what's it called, like library or something on the app. If I wanted to read 100 of these books, and I'm reading 4 books a year, it would take me a fuck ton of time. My maths is awful. It would take me years. So I just think this is going to be hopefully game changing for me, and I'm really excited to do this. The other thing I plan on doing is I listened to the Atomic Habits book without kind of writing down notes, without doing anything. I just sat and listened to it and took in the information. But something I really want to do is to maybe start, I can't decide if I'm either going to do it in a book and actually handwrite things down or use my laptop. But either way, write down the key points and the key information from each book that I'm kind of getting from it. So, the Atomic Habits, I can't even remember what the habits were, but it was things like making things no, I literally can't even remember. I'm going to try and bullshit, but I literally can't remember. So this is the point, is that I want to journal. Well, not even journal. I want to write down at the same time that I'm listening to the book and make notes. And then afterwards journal for a little bit about maybe things that I've learned, things that I could change about myself, things that I agree with or disagree with, and just kind of have it as a little project that I do with myself every day. So I'm going to meditate, read the book, and then journal. So I encourage you to do the same if you want to. I don't have a hashtag or anything to follow. I don't have a group where you can join me. I just think it could be quite a nice way to feel like you're not alone in doing this. I will leave my Instagram link down below if you want to go ahead and follow me on there. I might mention some of the books on my stories maybe. But yeah, I'm so excited. There's so many books on there that I've been dying to read, and you can get them in a 20-minute session. So I'm so excited. I did pay for a 3-month subscription with Blinkist. By the way, this is not sponsored or anything like that at all. Just thought I'd put that out there. So I tried it for a week, enjoyed it, and I thought, okay, I'm going to pay for a year. So I'm going to tell you about the price. I've got it written down. So it's $13 for 1 month, $26 for 3 months, or $80 for a year. So I thought, do you know what? I'll try it for 3 months. That's a good amount of time to really get kind of stuck in with it and listen to lots and lots of books. And it was only $26. So maybe you want to do the same thing. I'll leave Blinkist, that link down below as well, and we can do this together. So I've got my notebook in front of me and a couple of things I did want to mention. So it's going to be 90 books in 90 days. So you can listen to it whenever you want during your day. So I've got some ideas. So maybe when you're having a shower in the morning, after your morning meditation, like I'm going to be doing, maybe whilst you have your breakfast, maybe whilst you're having your lunch or dinner, maybe on your drive or commute to and from work. You can maybe do it in bed before you go to sleep, maybe instead of watching Netflix in the evenings. There's lots of times throughout the day where you can find 10 minutes, just kind of sit down, listen to a book, and then journal afterwards. So that's my kind of suggestions in terms of when to do it. It doesn't have to be that you sit down and focus just on that. It could be while you're driving or whilst you're, making lunch, doing something else. You can do other activities whilst you're listening to them if you want to listen. Otherwise, like I said, you could do the reading option or read and listen at the same time. The other thing I wanted to say is that if you look at the list and you've either already read the book or maybe you don't want to read that book, you can go ahead and find another book. It's not about reading the exact same books as me. It's more about just trying to encourage people to get this information. It's out there and it's so easy to have access to. If you have $26 for 3 months, you can learn so much. So it's not about, you don't have to read the exact same books as me. It's more about encouraging other people to learn more and grow more, and especially for people who are dyslexic, who find it hard to read, there is a way to get this information without it being, a really hard, long slug of 6 months of reading a book that you really can't get through. So it's more about that. It's not about, doing the exact same thing as me. The other thing is that if you miss a day because you're super busy, because obviously life does get in the way, because they're only 10 to 20 minutes long, you could squeeze 2 into the same day. So, so if you happen to have a really busy day one day, you could just do 2 the next day and kind of catch up. Obviously you can also miss days. It's not, I'm not going to be marking you at the end of this, but I think it's quite good to try and get into a routine with this and try and, I don't know, I'm looking forward to pushing myself and trying to do it every single day without fail. So yeah, that's the end of this video, and that's a challenge that I'm setting myself. So I'm going to listen to 90 books in 90 days. Now it's obviously going to be the 10 to 20 minute summary of the book, so it's not the whole book, but it is going to be the essence and the key lessons and the key information from each book. So 90 books in 90 days. And I'm going to come back in 90 days and give you a bit of an overview. So I don't know if I'm going to talk about maybe the biggest lessons that I've learned, my favourite books, the books I didn't really, enjoy listening to, the kind of summary version of it. And talk about what I think of Blinkist, basically, if I think it's a good app, if I think it's worth it, if I enjoy it, if I actually stick to it, how many books I actually read in 90 days, if it's 90, if it's more, if it's less. So yeah, I cannot wait to start this. If you do want to join me, add me on Instagram and you can send me a little message and tell me that you're doing it with me as well. Like I said, all the books that I want to read will be linked down below in the description box, so you can go ahead and maybe save them for yourself or write them down somewhere, or even come back to this video. You can save this video, come back to it and make sure every day that you're reading the same book as me. But yeah, this is a little bit different for me. I've spoken about reading once, I did that dyslexia video. So reading is not my niche, it's not something I'm super into, but it is something that I want to get into and something that I want to do more of this year. And also to feel like dyslexia is not holding me back. I'm tired of being held back by my dyslexia and by struggling to read these things. This information, it really does help people, and I don't see why I should not suffer, but also not gain this knowledge because of my dyslexia. So anyway, that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope some of you join me along on this journey as well. I can't wait for us to learn some lessons, and yeah, I'm really excited. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.